So as you can see on your screen, this is a handsome looking man. Obviously he's an Arsenal fan, and his name is Mr. Stanley Obi. Stanley Obi, I believe, obviously he's from Nigeria. I believe he hails from the eastern part of Nigeria, right? What we know and we've researched about Stanley Obi in the past few days is that Mr. Stanley Obi,
that's his LinkedIn profile.
That's his LinkedIn profile you can see on the screen. He's living in Australia. He was living in Australia at the time. He went to University of Queensland, where he got his graduate diploma in public health distinction. And he went ahead to further his education to become a nurse. So he's a registered nurse who has been working as a care manager with a company called Avio Group. Now, Mr. Stanley Obi is described by his friend as someone who is loving and compassionate. Mr. Stanley Obi, he was in a relationship with a certain Australian lady called Susan Mudge. Sarah Mudge? I think it's Sarah Mudge. That's her name.
Sarah, yeah.
That's the person on the screen, Sarah Mudge. Together, their relationship produced 3 children between the ages of 5, 3, and 2. Now, Sarah here, at some point in time in their relationship, it became a toxic one. According to the report, it says that they had taken out domestic violence order against each other. So they were in court battling custody for their children. I will read it here. So a man whose jilted ex-girlfriend broke into his house has died in the hospital. Sarah here, we are told that from the report that Mr. Stanley Obi bought a land in 2019, somewhere in Australia. And that land, he was building a house, which he completed and moved in with his current girlfriend. According to the details, he said, in the early hours of Thursday morning, Stanley Obi slept next to his partner in the couple's new home in Perth. His scorned ex-girlfriend was plotting a twisted attack. Sarah Mudge had crept into the property where Mr. Obi and his new girlfriend were beginning a new chapter of their lives. She carried petrol that would be poured over the 33-year-old and his partner. In another room there, 3 of Mudge's children slept peacefully. Mr. Obi had recently won custody of the children. As Sarah Mudge began throwing the petrol around, friends say Mr. Obi performed an act of bravery by shielding his family. That likely saved the life of his partner. Mudge is believed to have set her former lover alight in an act of rage that would end his life. She would also die inside the house as it burned down. But Mr. Obi's new girlfriend and his 3 children, they managed to escape. It was supposed to be, according to his colleague, it was supposed to be a day to mark the beginning of a new chapter in Mr. Obi's life after he won custody of his 2 children and guardianship of his 3rd child. It has been reported that the mother of 3 somehow gained entry into this house and decided to perform this heinous act. Sarah, on her own, when we were researching and we saw her Facebook profile,
we dug into straight back to 2019, where
back to 2019.
She had comments with some of Mr. Obi's family members in the comment section. It looked like a happy family in the past, at least.
And somehow, what had happened is that she has also posted about her children. At the time before this custody final hearing, she was homeschooling the children. In the relationship, I think she also came into the relationship at the time with children from a previous relationship. So, but with Mr. Stanley, they had three children. Police are alleging that Mr. Obi was a victim of the suspected domestic violence attack that was carried out by this 31-year-old lady. They don't really know details about what's going on, but they are alleging that the domestic orders that they took out against each other. Unfortunately, Mr. Stanley Obi is said to have suffered severe burns to 90% of his body, with the police confirming that he died at 10 p.m. So the attack started at 3 a.m. and then he died at 10 p.m. Between that time, one of his neighbor, Al, tried to rescue them, and he was with Mr. Obi while they were waiting for the ambulance and the fire service that came in about 35 minutes late.
Yes, let me look for a picture of the neighbors. So these are the neighbors on the screen where my mouse is circling over. This man, Al, was the one who was able to drag Mr. Stanley away from the house, but he had to wait for 35 minutes before the ambulance came.
And he said Mr. Obi was saying, tell them,
I'm a critical one or something. And
because he's a nurse, so he was fighting for his life. He was in so much pain. He was in so much pain. This woman, this ex-girlfriend, on her Facebook page, she has gone to like some fan page that campaigns, they call them the Red Heart Campaign, which has been established to commemorate every domestic and family violence related death in Australia. So she's a fan of this page, but you can see now that she committed the same crime that she's a fan of advocating against. Now check this out. 9 weeks prior to this incident, she had posted on Facebook a cryptic message, relationship rules. She had said, and I quote, "She's not toxic, bro," she wrote. "You made her like that. Now you think she's crazy. Your decisions reflect her actions. Check yourself." It's very sad because even though the current girlfriend and the 3 children are not physically hurt, but obviously they are facing the whole psychological trauma and they've not been able to speak with them. His colleagues at work on Friday, they woke up to the bad news of their own colleague, Mr. Stanley Obi, that has died, and they decided to start raising funds to target towards helping the children, which is very nice of them. And his friend, as according to the article, will say they described Mr. Obi as a loving and a kind man, a compassionate person. You can see that he's a family-oriented person.
Man.
A hardworking man.
Bought the land to the house in 2019.
He's just
built that property. They've only been there for 6 months. Even Sarah is said to be a photographer, only child of her family. But she's had these numerous kids, and she says she loves her children. But one would wonder, how can a mother who so loves her children render them orphan?
And then what about the impact on Mr. Stanley Obi's family who are in Nigeria? It is a very painful, very, very painful situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're missing any
house.
I don't think we're missing any other thing about the case. Just in summary, this is Mr. Stanley Obi, and then we put some videos online, and which we will put them in the description box, as well as links to all the stories where apparently in their community, in this Australian place, I can't remember the name, whatever, New Birth, the domestic violence has been a thing actually, because the premier came to speak about the whole situation and all of that. So for this last story, this is just the sad situation whereby this man has died. There's no other way to sugarcoat this thing. The children have to suffer from this trauma of remembering that their mother is the one that caused this crime, the neighbors in the community, everything just going on. Stanley having to suffer for 17 hours before he died. I mean, it took the fire service, if you can see, 2 hours to put out the fire. Where the video is right here. To put out the fire. So it's like from that night time until morning time, and they've not been able to interview the girlfriend or the children yet to kind of ascertain what really happened, apart from the fact that Stanley got full custody of all the children. That's only. However,
sorry, ladies. Stanley was never married to Sarah, correct?
No, he was never. They weren't married.
They were just partners.
They were
long-term
relationship.
They were just cohabiting, and they had 3 children, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the last story, and then.
Let me remove it from the screen so that everybody can come back. Give me a second.
Yeah.
All right.
So the floor is open.
Did somebody leave by mistake? Oh,
I think
we lost Junior. Okay, I'm gonna put back in for Junior. And anybody who feels like coming in to chime in.
No, that's it's quite unfortunate to see that happen. Oh, go ahead, Junior. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, may life not happen to us in Jesus' name. Amen. Let me just put it down. I'm telling you, because this is terrible. The reason why I asked that question was because I was going to lean towards divorce, but they were not married, so this was not a divorce step. See,
before you go on, they had filed domestic claims against each other. At least the police knew about that, but they've not told the public what those claims were. So they are not
Even
really.
if it is not, even if they were not married, but we don't know. I don't know about Australia if they recognize long-term relationship. Like,
Oh, you mean common law? You mean common law?
yeah, like
And they
yeah.
broke
I
up
don't know if
6
they
months ago.
recognize it because it's as good as it's as good as marriage as well.
But carry on, Junior. Sorry for
Yeah,
interrupting.
it's as good at marriage. But the thing is that, you have to understand something. There is no good way to end a relationship.
Than to
Okay,
walk
there
away.
is no, yeah, there
A
is no good
balanced
way.
relationship, yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when the court has awarded him the custody of the kids and not the mother, which is the Sarah. So she's very angry and bitter. If I can't have you, no one else will have you. That's pretty much what she's saying. If I can't have you, no one else will have you. She's thinking about the investment. She's thinking about, how long they have been together. They had 3 kids together. And the guy is saying, okay, I do not want to have anything to do with you anymore. Move on with your life. I have found a new life. He's living his new home. And you think as a guy, it is okay. It is, it has ended and the court has awarded me the custody. But the thing is that people are evil. People are evil because I think she orchestrated this whole thing. She planned it. She waited for them to go to sleep. She somehow made her way into the house and made sure, and I'm sure she was around to make sure that they actually got bonds.
Yeah.
She died. Oh my goodness.
She died.
Jesus.
She didn't survive
in
it.
fire.
So she poured the gas petrol on them, according to the neighbor who had gone to try and rescue, right? But Stanley
kind of
covered
his family, and the current girlfriend was able to get away with the kids. In one of the news videos where we watched, the neighbor had said that they could smell petrol on the children's body. So we're going to put all the links to all our sources in the description box for people who want to do further research. And for saying that she kind of premeditated this thing, it's also possible because on other news articles that we read, they had been asking questions about how to do something to frogs and some strange.
So she was so to clarify, she was also trying to kill the kids too.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Can I come in for a brief moment?
Yes.
Yeah. The rest of us should please try and mute our mics.
If somebody's talking, somebody please mute your mic if you're not talking so that it doesn't bounce.
Yeah, I'll be brief. There are a lot of people now, so I'll be brief. Okay, yeah. I just want us to go pre the incident, right? Okay. Now it's speculation. The lady is there, the guy is there, so we might not know what actually happened. Yeah, but I just want to let's go for a bit of speculation. Okay, this incident. We talked about walking away. Junior talked about walking away. Yachman talked about walking away. I quite agree. We all agree that it's good to walk away, and I want to guarantee, even I can go for about 100% that this incident did not happen in isolation. I believe that there were some threats coming through, and Stanley didn't take it seriously. Because nobody cannot just go this far out of the blue without giving some pre information about what they may do in the future.
Yeah, the heads up that we saw from the woman's cryptic post from 9 weeks ago. 9 weeks ago.
Yeah, not only that, because I want to believe that there may be some fighting, some verbal threats, some verbal threats, all the querying and all those things. And I believe that even this lady, the deceased lady must have threatened Junior verbally, eyeball to eyeball. And sorry, Stanley, eyeball to eyeball. You understand? But Stanley did not take it seriously. And Stanley did not take it seriously because why? She's a mere woman. She cannot do anything. She's a woman. You understand? Without knowing that women also can be this violent. Yeah. So that's my little contribution.
But addressing what you just said, you know what the Bible says about a furious woman, right?
Yeah.
When they decide to deal with you, even the devil takes notes. So quite unfortunate.
Yeah. So I believe Stanley ignored a lot of red flags. He ignored a lot of red flags. Yeah.
But I'm also proud of him, but the fact that he stepped away. Yeah. And we're just hypothetically alleging about the red flags, right? How far will you go to protect yourself? You have children.
Do we have the? I don't mean to take it to a racial level, but do we have the ratio of the new when he left the lady that just did what he did? the new lady is dating right now, is she black or is she white? Did they remain with
They
a white
didn't
woman?
provide any details on the
I
race.
think that might also be part of it too. I
Part of
think
what?
I'm looking at a racial component. Maybe
No news outlet has reported her race or anything.
the standing.
No, are you guys talking about the current girlfriend, the one that survived?
Yeah.
No, this is a Niger babe now. This is a Niger babe.
Nobody,
There we
nobody,
go.
it's not confirmed.
Yes.
From the news,
Regardless,
Okay, it was mere speculation. Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's not
I
confirmed.
think because
No.
in the all the Australian articles or whatever, because we
We
read
read
this
a lot,
stuff.
even up to this one. This one that we said
their
read
Facebook
out
pages and
came out
everything, like
yes, I think like 4 minutes or something
didn't-
into the time.
we didn't see anything about the race. We only know that she's a 31-year-old female. We don't know what her race or what
whatever
her
it
name
is.
is.
Yeah,
Or
they've
Yeah.
not.
Okay, because the
also
gossip,
interpreted her.
unconfirmed gossip with that Stanley dumped this lady for a Niger babe. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
it.
no.
It's still gossip, yeah. So yeah, it's not
No,
confirmed.
I don't know.
The police has not addressed that. Okay, Adewale,
Adewale,
you are here where you give your opinion, then Amaka gives her opinion, and then
Hello, can you guys hear me?
yeah,
Yes,
we
hear
can.
you.
Yeah, so when I heard about that story, I actually went online to read articles about it, and it was a very, very sad story. But it's not a new one. There've been a lot of cases like this. And actually, there've also been a lot of like Hollywood movies that kind of describe this kind of relationships. And I think the relationship Stanley had with this lady was an obsessive one, because there are a lot of people walking in the street that can't really distinguish between love and obsession. So for them, if I can't have you, no one can, and they will do whatever it takes to do that, even if it means deleting themselves, you and even the children you have together. They will do it because they believe that they're made like you're not supposed to be with anyone. And so unfortunately that's the kind of like he met like that kind of person. Stanley met that kind of person and he didn't survive. There's some people who survive, and there's a lot of people also who don't survive this kind of relationships. So the relationships where the man is the obsessive one or where the woman is the obsessive one. And in Stanley's case, was the woman. And I suspect there were probably like red flags or like certain situations. This like the whole like arson that happened is probably not the first. Maybe it's the worst of the issues they've had, but I don't think it's the first one that has been reported to the police. And I actually also think he didn't take it seriously, or maybe he doesn't really know how to deal with an obsessive partner, because for obsessive partners the best thing you can actually do is disappear, run for your life, because you can't they obsessive partners are really they don't know how to control themselves. Like their emotions are like taking over their like logical faculty, so they can do anything and everything. You can't underestimate them, and a lot of people actually underestimate them, and then they do the worst thing. So I'm very sure he didn't know how to deal with that partner. Or maybe he didn't even know that she's obsessive. Probably he did, but he just didn't know how to deal with it because
We didn't take it seriously. And Adewale, you're right. We read some articles too where it said that the police had known them from their previous area. They had also
exactly.
claims against each other, but I don't know why the
And
Australian. I don't know why it's taking
The
so
Australian
much
is
time.
very slow.
This thing's like 48 hours already.
Very slow. Very slow.
And then Rocky is saying that they used to work for a domestic violence charity, and they've seen so many things. Yeah, in your experience, do you see some men coming in to those charity places?
Rocky, you should probably call into the
Is
show.
it mostly women that call in?
Okay. Adewale, are you done with your part for now? So that
yeah. So I think I kind of also blame the Australian police and police force. Yes, they should have actually like intervened a long time ago, even before now. Because it's like these cases are very common. It's not like it's not a new. They're very, very common. They're very common. So it's like it's just like I don't know if you guys watch this show on Netflix. You
No.
Do you guys know that show Netflix? It's like a series on Netflix. Is You, like YOU, and the guy is like, he's also one obsessive guy, and the things he did even worse than this, the one that this woman is currently doing. So there are a lot of movies about it because it's a well-known case.
Yeah.
It's well known all over the world. So it's quite sad. Actually, just sad.
Yeah.
Okay, Amaka. Amaka, are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. How let me go in because I know if I start talking now, my kids will run in here. Yeah, I mean, I think I've been listening in, and when we started the whole story about the man abuse, I also wanted to say, okay, well, I don't know, I don't think if I have any much contribution, but just hearing everybody else speak, I'm like, okay, I think I can just say one or two things. One thing I do disagree on was when Junior said there's no good way to end a relationship, and no, I 100% disagree on that in the sense that I feel like if you're in a relationship with someone that you don't think that there's a way you guys can come together and have a mutual agreement and say, okay, I think this is not working out, then please. And if you're in that headspace where you know for sure, you know, like a relationship is always relationships are always give and take in the sense that it could work out or it couldn't, and the person is not. I feel like the other person should go ahead and end it at that time before it gets crazy. One thing about guys I would say is, like, I've seen a lot of guys that they would have friends like, this is my friends for life, this is my friends forever, and the relationship just stays on the same level. In the sense that it's like it has no depth, We women, we bond a lot. You already know who's your bestie or who's your next bestie, or who you can tell anything. I mean, now sometimes you can just say you might not have time, but you get on the phone. You stay on the phone for hours. You're spilling all kinds of secrets and saying all kinds of things, And then with that time, you know what's going on in your friend's life, what's actually going on in your friend's life. But men can be. You guys can talk for hours, nothing. Like, if it doesn't pass that ball was nah, man, Manchester, I see how they had it, or whatever they call. I'm not into sports or whatever, Man, that guy play well or whatever, Once it doesn't cross that. So I feel like that's number one. That's a bigger issue. That's a problem in the sense that for someone that has brothers, they might be going through stuff, and you as a sister might not know, And I guess it gets to that level where before you find out that things are really good, this has gone bad, it might be like, okay, this will file for divorce, like as it is, or maybe the girl goes crazy, and that's one that happened recently in my personal life, goes crazy and start texting everybody and start dishing all kinds of abuse on the guy, and you're like, whoa, I didn't realize you guys are having this issue. You know what I'm saying? Because the man in question was my husband's very good friend, So I feel, okay, my biggest thing was like, I guess maybe my solution or a little bit of input will be, I feel like just having that talk, even if you don't know what's going on, if you sense anything, just have that talk with whoever guy you have in your personal life. That's one. Number two, as a boy's mom, I've already started now talking to them. I don't care how young they are, because either way, they're going to be in a relationship one way or the other. And one thing I know I have said to my kids is, I don't care how much you love somebody, if the person ever raises their hands or shows any kind of aggression, even drops a bottle somewhere out of anger, you need to drop that person like it's hot right there. You see what I'm saying? And also, you yourself should not be the person taking anger to the next level where you can control yourself and trying to hurt people in that means. And I also have said, never ever feel like you can. In any way there's somebody that you cannot live with. Just gradually, because we talk about, because we're getting to that point where I'm trying not to let the society be the one teaching my kids. Because before I'm like, okay, don't say anything to kids, don't do this one, no. Now I'm to the point where I am just putting in those words, because it's not just I believe that, me personally, I believe some guys do get abused, My personal belief is like, keep your hands to yourself. I'll keep my hands to myself, keep your hands to yourself. So almost like the same way I say, if a girl gets abused and I ask who hit each other first, and they say the girl who raised their hands, I lose interest in that conversation. If you don't want to be beaten up, please do not put your hands on anybody. It's what I'm saying. That is my personal. And some people are like, oh no, that's too harsh. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's my personal belief system. So I feel like maybe just talking, and also just making sure that we are checking in on some of our men in our lives too. Just if you have those good quiet ones, and it always seems like the extremely nice quiet ones always want to go for the crazies, out there. I don't know what it is. What I'm saying. So just every now and then, hey, dig deep, ask questions, drill, because nothing's gonna come out of that. I think it's just a general man's thing, do not complain, do not bitch about anything, that is my input.
Thank you so much,
Amaka. Sorry, I have a question for Amaka.
Sure.
So very quick, how do you dissolve a relationship with someone that is obsessed?
Yeah, because that's what
I don't say. Do not let it get to that far. Like, you have. We all have.
Amaka, they had 3 children. So I'm just coming from the angle.
But that one is far. They've gone far now. At that point, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you don't even before you get to that point. People always show you who they are. How people have like those 3 months rule where nothing gets deep, nothing gets, just within that 3 months, let's just get to know each other. Before that time, a lot of the girls that I know that have followed that rule always find out one thing or the other. People, we try to hide who we are, but somehow something gets slipped in the crack. I think
you and Junior are actually saying the same thing, but just communicating it different. Because Junior is saying that it's not, you cannot end a violent relationship well. Like you can't end
yeah, that was what I was saying.
Oh, violence. Okay, sorry, I missed the violence. I thought you said you cannot end any relationship. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No,
I didn't say that. End a violent relationship well. So you are saying that if a person is getting violent, like you're saying, you have advised your son or whatever that they should leave. It's the same thing Junior is saying, that there is no way to handle, say you're living peacefully. You have to say
yes. Okay. Now I get it. I thought you said any relationship, not just okay. Now it's violence. Okay, sorry. Yeah, because some people end a relationship and stay friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that I need Rocky to speak. Thank you so much, Amaka. So
I'm gonna drop out and go back to watching from the background. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that wisdom.
Yeah, and thank you for raising your son's rights to making them know that they have the right to feel and to be felt as well. And I think your husband,
Attorney John, your husband is saying he cannot live without.
I beg. But I just try. Thanks. That you guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
You're welcome, Amaka. Okay.
Actually, I have an answer to
someone's
question. Someone asked a question previously. I think I have a suggestion. Might not be like a right answer, but I think once the relationship gets violent, you need to get the professionals involved, the police, the psychologist, and everything. But some people really don't know about it. So I think that's also like Stanley's case as well. He just ignored the whole thing. And I don't think he actually even had time to really know who the lady was before they started having kids. So once the kids came, it was actually because once you have kids, you're with that person for life. It becomes very hard to be
Thank you so much, Adewale. I need that question. Yeah. Rocky, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, guys. I'm ready. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Can every other person please just hold on a little bit so that Rocky can talk?
I think Rocky is the one who said that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, so that Rocky can speak. When Rocky finished speaking, I think he actually had something to say. Then we can all get
interacting.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Okay, Rocky, are you ready?
I'm ready when you guys are. So, firstly, good evening, greetings, everyone. I wasn't. I'm good, thank you very much. Common Sense Sisters, good to be back on your profile. So
where are you watching us from?
The UK, London specifically.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I used to work for the National Domestic Violence Helpline Refuge. and I didn't hear the beginning of this conversation because I just literally caught the discussion. But from what Amaka and Adewale and a few others have said, I can kind of get the gist. Now, Adewale made a good point about getting professionals involved. I don't know where this specific story took place, if it was in Canada.
Australia.
It was Australia, right?
Yes. So
Okay,
the man
thank
had
you.
been in a long-term relationship. Since we didn't get the story from the beginning, let me just quickly say it.
Summarize.
So the man had been in a long-term relationship with a lady called Sarah, and the relationship bore forth 3 children, 5, 3, and ages 2, right? And they had in the past, according to police, had taken out domestic violence order against each other in the past. Now the relationship has already hit rock bottom, and then they were in court for custody battle for the children. Prior to that, Sarah had been homeschooling the kids, right? But then I think it was on Thursday or Wednesday, Stanley
court
Obi
awarded Stanley full
Obi
custody of all the kids.
And Stanley
2
Obi,
kids and 1 guy.
2 kids, and then guardianship of the last kid,
one.
of the last child, right? Stanley Obi is already currently in a new relationship with another woman, and they moved into the house that he had built. This is 6 months ago. They started living in that house. Now Sarah goes in there after this court order case, so which means that it's the night that the thing happened at 3 a.m. Takes petrol, makes her way forcefully into the house sneakingly, and then drowses this petrol on this man's body. Went to the room where the man is staying. A strange partner is
the
living.
children was also at home.
Living with sleeping
Children
with his
were
friend.
there as well.
The children were in another room. Now she was drowsing this petrol on this man, and then obviously he would have woken up, and he decided to shield his girlfriend, right?
The girlfriend and the kids were able to escape.
So she lit the fire. She died in the process, but the girlfriend and the kids were able to escape with the help of they also had a neighbor that also tried to help pull them out. So because of the way Stanley shielded him, they were able to. The girlfriend was able to escape with the 3 kids.
But Stanley was
90% degree burnt. He did not make it. By the time the ambulance came, it was 35 minutes late, and they took him to the hospital. And this man suffered for 17 hours
before
and
he
then
died.
he died.
He suffocated.
And then he died. So that's
God rest his soul, man. God rest his soul. God rest his soul. And also, prayers out to the children who, God, imagine the trauma of knowing that that's how your father's passed away. That's going to take years of therapy for them to recover from that. But anyway, I mean, in that situation, there's many red flags. For example, the custody situation. Where was social services? Because there would have been a reason why the judge awarded Stanley custody and guardianship over the children, because there must have been some sort of safeguarding alerts that were flagged in terms of the woman's behavior, her ability to parent, neglect, or whatever it is. That people don't just get full custody without due diligence, without evidence, without psychologists speaking to the children to discuss who they prefer to stay with, what they do, the interaction, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, in my experience, when I used to work for a domestic violence charity, the focus would always be on the woman being the victim, because historically, that statistics have shown that women historically have, and still today, are normally the victims and the men are the perpetrators. But we're seeing an increasing amount of female perpetrators and male victims. And the only problem with that is that there isn't the resources and the provisions to provide it. And also the stigma still exists. So someone else said earlier, if it's a woman, what can she do? And obviously, that's true to some extent. But in Australia and in the Western Hemisphere, there are rights against women. There are, rights against coercion, abuse, what have you. So a woman hits a man's going to think twice before he hits that woman back, because the ramifications on him against her is different to the ramifications that would come about for the woman if she's perpetrating the domestic violence. So you've got that to think about. Then you've also got the fact that the children, it's a hot mess. But one thing what I want to say though is like what Amaka said, there are always signs at the beginning of a relationship. So one of the things that I learned as well through the training is there's this thing, and you can Google it, and it's called the cycle of abuse. And I think for your audience, so it's important for people in the, I'm just talking specifically to the Black community, the African, West African, Caribbean community. It's important that we familiarize ourselves with these things called the cycle of abuse, because it's those first instances. There's a film actually by the BBC called Murdered by My Boyfriend, and you see the beginning of the relationship where the person will say, oh, you know, pull up your sleeve. Oh, that's a bit of a low you know, there's little indicators, and then it goes from that to shouting, gaslighting, throwing things, and then eventually the hitting, and then it's just a matter of time before that becomes a fatal injury. So with men, I know a situation where someone came to me and said, look, I've got a friend, he's in a relationship, he's got kids, and he wants to move out the house because the woman's beating him up, and he didn't want to speak about it because he's embarrassed, he's ashamed, but he's trapped, he doesn't know what to do. And I said he needs to let someone know. He needs to let someone know ASAP, like, and put his shame aside and put all of that demasculation feeling to one side, because what he's doing is he's sending a signal out to his children that that is a normal functioning relationship, which it isn't. And then also the children of the victims, they always suffer because they're learning dysfunctional relationship habits, and you know, all these weird kind of ingrained behaviors that are then passed down to the children, and then you get another cycle of abuse in the next generation. So there's a plethora of different points that we can make about this. Someone also said, you know, was the man black or was he white? You know, irrespective of his race or ethnic origin, domestic violence happens across the board, guys. This is not specific to a race. You know, the idea that it happens in some cultures more than others is a lie. It's a myth. There are some serious, you'd think they're alpha looking men, you know, they're built well, they look like they go to the gym, pump weights, and they're taking licks from their woman, and these are black men, you know, and white men and Asian. There's all sorts. Obviously, we know, generally speaking, in certain cultures where there's how can I say, certain ideas around women's place and what a woman is meant to do. You know, certain cultures, South Asian communities and what have you, and even that's changing. We're seeing more being done in India about the rights of women, but I would like to see more emphasis on the rights of men, because men are suffering in silence. Someone said, I think it was Amaka who said, you know, the men aren't speaking up. They're, you know, they'll be going through things and they'll just talk about sports and have a very surface level conversation, not to generalize, because I feel like there's also a wave of men, you know, who are becoming
relationships out there.
Say that again. Sorry.
Creating healthy relationships amongst themselves. That's
right.
Just superficial things. I'm sorry to cut you in before you even go on. I think Graciousness made 2 great points where they are saying it also seems to me that some women have a lengthy list of standards when it comes to choosing what men is suitable for them. However, some men have no standards or a very standard. Therefore, those men would just be happy to settle with a woman, any woman, without analyzing or probably identifying the red flags, which are in terms of characteristics that a woman exhibits. So that's another thing. If you are in a relationship with a woman and you know she's telling you of the things that she put her ex through, that can be a red flag too as well. So people I agree with Gracious in the sense that there is this thing about, I don't know how true it is, that, you know, men just be with any woman they want to be with. For some men, not all, will just be, but there's no, like, if you see the negative trait in this woman, you think, oh, she's a woman, she cannot do that much. After all, she's just a woman. But you have to take these signs seriously. You cannot have a woman that is obsessed with you, because that obsession can lead to violence, which is what we are seeing today.